guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of SeaBed. So, let's jump right back in. Nanae, after sipping out all of the soup left in her spoon, stuck it in my direction for me to inspect. The good thing about antiques is that they can stand the test of time. Look at this spoon, for example. It's been around for half a century, and with enough care and maintenance, will stay in tip-top shape for another 50 years, no problem. Nanae showed me the other side of the spoon by rotating it in her grip. In the past, these things weren't as common and expendable as they are today, so every article was made with care or by an actual master of the craft, rather than by machines. I see. I felt as though I heard someone knocking on the wall. And that's also the wind. I wonder if I left one of the windows open. Another gust clashed against the window behind Nanae. Soon after, I heard the knocking sound again from the direction of the corridor. Did you think it was a ghost? I don't believe in things like that. I see. Whew, I'm full. Nanae placed her plate back on the table. There were a few more plates on Nanae's side as we finished eating. You really ate it all. This is nothing. If anything, I'm still a bit hungry. Looking after an inn requires quite a bit of physical work, you know. Besides, this is dinner. We heard the same knocking sound from the corridor. Wanna go look around the area tomorrow? I can show you around. Nanae pushed her chair back and leaned forward against the table. Are you sure I wouldn't be imposing on you too much? Of course not. I want to do it myself. In that case, I'll take you up on your offer. Alright, you just leave everything to me. I'll show you the... Okay, my mouse is really pissing me off right now. Hopefully I can go back and look at the text history. Come on. Stop! My God! Okay. I'm full, blah blah blah. Oh wait. Ugh. So alright, just leave everything to me. I'll show you all the best places. So we're good on that. Light filtered in through the window, painting the room in a pale bluish hue. The window seemed to have frosted over during the night. I could even spot a small circle extending from the roof. The courtyard visible through the window was now blanketed in white. I heard the floor creak. A tiny bed of water traveled down the shaft of the icicle before soundlessly dripping to the ground below. The withered grass crunched like shaved ice under my feet. There was a small hill with a camphor tree in the center of the courtyard. Its branches extended from its trunk in complex patterns, reminiscent of lightning. Oh my God! I hate my mouse. I hate my computer right now. Forming an awe-inspiring canopy that sparkled beautifully in the morning dew. A tranquil silence fell upon the area, giving the impression that the entire world had entered a deep slumber. The flower beds surrounding the hill had all withered in the morning sun. A gardening cart that had been forgotten nearby was half full of rainwater. I kept listening as the frosty air chilled my skin. One of the tree branches shuddered, sending drops of dew to the ground. I looked up and spotted a small bird with a long tail among the leaves. I continued listening. This time, I heard a knocking sound. I stepped on the thin ice, making it crack under my feet. I stopped at a place just a little ways away from the courtyard. I looked up at the towering pole before me, its tip backdropped by a sky of light clouds. There was a pulley and a rope attached to said tip. Another gust of wind swept across the frozen ground, making the metallic parts attached to the rope hit against the wooden pole with a knocking sound. It looked like a flagpole, but I saw no trace of a flag anywhere. I spent a few moments looking at the noisy pole, trying to imagine what kind of flag it once bore, when I suddenly heard something else. It sounded like a person's voice coming from the main entrance of the mansion. I thought I heard Nanae's laugh. Upon returning to the mansion, I came upon Nanae chatting with a couple of children riding bicycles. I couldn't make out what they were talking about, but judging from her swaying shoulders, it seemed like Nanae found the conversation amusing. "Today's the day I catch the River King, I swear!" That's some confidence. The children all wore waist bags and backpacks. I could spot fishing rods poking out from some of them. "I saw it just the other day. There was this big." "I saw a bigger one. It was like this." "You idiots! The king of the river can't be that small. It's gotta be at least this big." The children opened their arms wide. "Oh my god, quit!" Trying to show off how large a size they were thinking of. "Don't forget to bring some for me too." "Huh? You think I let you keep your bicycles and use my river for free? That's dirty!" "You gotta play dirty now and then to survive in the world." "Everyone gets an equal share then." With that, the children began pedaling their bicycles and rode off toward the woods. "Oh, I'm having a guest right now, so don't forget her share either." "Seriously? It was a mistake to stop here." Nanae sounded another one of her hearty laughs. "Be careful out there." She waved the children goodbye. "Good morning." Oh, whoops, that was Sachiko. "Good morning." "Oh, good morning." Nanae looked behind her shoulder in response to my greeting. "They're the kids from town. Apparently they plan to fish here today," said Nanae, noticing me stare at their receding backs. "What were you talking about?" "Food. We might get some fresh fish for dinner tonight." "I see. Provided they manage to catch anything, that is." "You could have taught them how to make a bamboo net." "That's a good idea, but those kids don't know when to stop, so..." Nanae shrugged her shoulders. "Do they come here a lot?" "Plenty of places to play around here. Mountains, rivers, lakes. This area is open to the public. We even have a library." Nanae pointed at a building further in the distance. "I see. That aside, what are you doing outside so early in the morning? Did something happen?" "No, I was just curious about something." Nanae glanced in the direction I came from. "Oh, so you found out?" "Only because of this windy weather. Might have been a different story otherwise." "I was planning to let you enjoy the mystery a while longer. Damn, this stupid wind ruined everything on the first day." Another breeze swept across the courtyard, carrying some leaves and a few leftover golden petals from the withered flowers. And there was that knocking sound in the distance again. Nanae let out another guffaw. "You okay with toast for breakfast?" "If you have hot coffee to go with it." "Of course we do. I'll prepare it right away." The pleasant smell of baking bread filled the room. It reminded me of the bakery near my house when I was little. I used to buy bread from them every morning. Their entrance had a huge pink sign in the shape of a rabbit. I held a tray, a pair of tongs, and some money. The fragrant scent of baking bread, the sweet aroma of fresh confectionery, butter, and jam would completely overwhelm me. After a few moments of hesitation, I would always pick melon bread and sausage rolls. Sometimes I'd run into Takako. She often bought the rabbit bread, which came in the same shape as the sign above the entrance. What was the name of that bakery again? Do you like your eggs fully fried, or... Nanae's words pulled me back to reality. The cafeteria at the end of the corridor, and to the left from the lobby, had a room shaped like a fan, with several windows on its arched wall. There was also a bar counter by one of the walls. Nanae had been preparing breakfast behind it. I'll have whatever you recommend. I'm not picky about food. Alright, then I'll do yours like my own, fully fried. The old-looking school furniture and the dim lighting in the room gave the cafeteria a vintage feel. It reminded me of the cafe I used to frequent. Through the window, I could see the leaves of the trees in the courtyard. I'll go with almost fully fried. Okay. A sizzling sound reminiscent of heavy applause followed, accompanied by the appetizing smell of frying bacon spreading across the room. I watched the apron-clad Nanae do her work behind the counter. After confirming the temperature of the frying pan, she picked up 2 eggs from a bowl, broke them open with one hand, then dropped both into the pan. I heard another applause. Here you go! She placed the coffee pot she held in her left hand and the basket of bread she held in her right on the leather-covered table. After that, she slid the 2 plates she held under one arm to her freed hand and nimbly lined them on the table before sitting down in front of me. You're pretty good with your hands. You just have to figure out how to center the mass, how the center of mass works. Anyone can do it with a bit of training. Would you like more coffee? Yes, please. As I waited, she refilled the cup I had emptied with a fresh serving of steaming coffee and placed it in front of me. Well then, let's eat! Yes. The toast was just the right hue of golden brown. She was good at this. Using my knife, I scooped up some butter from the jar Nanae handed me, savoring its alluring fragrance. After spreading the butter on her toast, Nanae placed some cabbages, some bacon, and a fried egg on it. When she was done, she began nibbling away on the bread. Didn't turn out too bad. She said that with her eyes closed while confirming the taste. The wet cabbages sparkled in the light. I placed only a piece of fried egg on mine before taking a bite. My teeth penetrated the crunchy outer layer and reached the soft, warm insides. It was only lightly toasted, but it felt just right. She was definitely good at this. I still have to finish cleaning the rooms, so would it be okay if I showed you the place this evening? Said Nanae after taking a sip of her coffee. Sure. It's been a while since we had such clear weather. I want to hang the laundry outside before it's too late. After letting out a sigh, Nanae leaned against her chair and stretched her neck. I glanced outside the window to see a girl walking on the stone path in the courtyard. Did you see someone there? Nanae noticed my gaze as she opened her eyes. Yes. I bet it's the library. Huh? There's a library building just next to ours. The books there are pretty old, but it's a big place and has quite a selection, as long as you don't want anything modern. If you like reading, you should check it out. Do you have any plans until the evening? Not really. I see. I felt the sweet smell grow more distinguishable as I continued down the stone path. I made out the hedgerow Nanae told me about right away. It extended further along the path up until it disappeared behind the west wing of the mansion. I continued down the path, covered by golden petals, until I saw a round roof beyond the hedge. 2 large wooden doors barred the entrance to the library. I slowly pushed one of them open, making its rusty hinges creak in response. Dust filled my nostrils as the sunlight, making its way into the room through a partially open door, painted a rectangular patch of light on the library's floor. The spacious cylinder-like room had bookcases lining its walls. It had a small staircase on the other end leading to an alcove with a huge window that circled around the entire building. The dome-shaped ceiling had a circular window, an oculus, in the middle that let slightly more light into the otherwise relatively dim interior. The door was closed as I pulled my hand off it, isolating all sounds from the outside and giving way for white noise. The middle-aged woman at the counter turned her gaze to me. I gave her a small nod. She smiled back at me in response before returning to her work. The clinking of my shoes was the only sound bouncing off the round walls of the interior. For some reason, it felt somewhat slow to my ears. The bookcase in the center of the hall resembled the giant stone tablets of some ancient ruin. The light seeping in from the ceiling illuminated a few of them, making the grains of dust in the vicinity sparkle in silver. I tried opening one of the books, but it was from a publisher I'd never heard of. I ultimately gave up on trying to find something interesting, and instead chose to find a comfortable place where I could read the books I brought myself. After passing a few more bookcases, I found a somewhat bigger space with a few desks and some chairs for reading. Some books and a whole heap of notes rested on one of the desks. Beyond the desk, I spotted a girl on a stepladder looking at one of the shelves. I found a one-person desk next to the window. I sat down and took out some of my books. After removing my silver bookmark, I began scanning the text from the right. The girl I spotted earlier returned to her desk as I was turning a page. Aww. She placed the small tower of books she'd been carrying on the desk, then pulled out her chair. Her long hair fluttered in the wind as she sat down. Without so much as giving a single glance, the girl opened a large book and placed it in front of herself, hiding her entire frame from view. I returned my attention to my own book. I had to flip a few pages back to find the line I had left off, or where I left off. The fluorescent lamps on the walls illuminated the page. By the time I closed the book, the inside of the building had gotten dark, with only barely noticeable silvers and orange light coming from the ceiling window. Or slivers, sorry. I'm not reading properly right now, because I'm so frustrated from my mouse. The girl was still at her desk, jotting something down in her notebook. I pulled up my sleeve and checked my watch. I stood up, pushed the chair back into its place, and left the library. The woman at the counter was nowhere to be seen anymore. I pulled one of the doors open with another loud creak and had a gust of wind blow straight on or into my face, propelling the sedentary dust of the room into the air. The west wing of the mansion was right in front of the library. The branches of the courtyard's large oak peeked out from behind the building. The entire scenery wore an orange tint. I spotted someone walking down the corridor inside the mansion. The silhouette of a woman with tied-up hair turned the corner and disappeared from sight. I was walking along the hedgerow, with my eyes fixed on the window when I heard voices from the courtyard. Is not that young anymore. How old was she again? Her 55th birthday was last month. People in the Showa period retired around that age. Nanae and a man wearing blue work clothes were talking in front of the back door. Lightly touching the brim of his hat, the man made a small bow to Nanae before turning around to leave. Nanae noticed me and turned the handle to close the half-open door. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys, so if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!